A worker is particularly skilled, working diligently for 11 years. However, sometimes the weather is unfavorable and people are at odds. Simply close your eyes and switch jobs to become a taskmaster of the plane system. Although the new job takes a long time, his salary is high. And a king who can live for 1,000 years, an immortal who can live for 10,000 years but choose the school flower, but unfortunately become the cannon fodder dwarf sister of the rural school flower. Parents don't care, siblings don't care, they only leave her a filial milk and a few acres of land. See how she uses her golden finger to create the most expensive and widely sold agricultural product kingdom in the country within 10 years. I want to be a princess, but unfortunately her father's power is only limited to a small town. And I heard that 13-year-old girls in the tribe can hold a coming-of-age ceremony. Wow, she's still a 155-month-old baby. How to get married after wearing it for another month. Online waiting is very urgent keywords of the novel. The king of quickly wearing scrolls has taken the wrong cannon fodder script. No pop-ups, the king of quickwear has taken the wrong cannon fodder script. Download the complete set of TXT, the king of quickwear has taken the wrong cannon fodder script. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. You have a new offer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. You have a new offer. After the beginning of autumn, in Pengcheng, during the National Day holiday, the temperature remained high in the old residence. At 23:45 midnight, in the 28-square-meter elevator apartment at Lushan Garden in Luohu district, it was so quiet that even the sound of breathing could not be heard. Ding dong, ding dong. After several consecutive nights of insomnia, Yu, who finally squinted for a while, was awakened by her phone and opened WeChat with her eyes narrowed. There are over 99 unread messages in the work WeChat group Half Cool Not Summer. Dear family members, dear boss, I recently read a good article and shared it with everyone. Let's encourage each other. At all, Half Cool Not Summer. Link. Title, please discard the mentality of, I am working for the boss. A depth bomb blew up all the fish in the group. Worker Chongya. Boss, I think the attitude in the article is too accurate. Only by constantly being grateful, appreciative, and giving in work can we work happily and live a happy life. Drowning in the deep sea for a long time, whether it's cold or not. Today I work with the mindset of a boss, tomorrow I will be the shareholder of the company, come on. As always, the presence of brushing regardless of time and place, the cliché D flattery, and you no longer wanted to go through it, so he turned off the phone and continued to fall asleep after being woken up by the work alarm. It was already 7:45 a.m. on the working day of October 8th. After taking a shower, dressing, tying hair, and putting on makeup, I quickly left the door in 20 minutes. At subway stations, there are still so many office workers squeezing into the morning rush hour. Yu grabbed the suspension ring of the subway with one hand, freeing up the other and constantly pressing on her temples. Fasting hypoglycemia makes people dizzy and nauseous, fermenting to the point of unbearable abdominal pain, which can withstand the cold sweat of Yu who got off the subway. As soon as she left the subway entrance, the temperature on the ground baked and her eyes turned even darker. I only remember finally grabbing a magnolia tree on the green road and squatting down. A few minutes later, a shout came from afar, from far to near. Pretty girl, should I help you dial 120? Can you still handle it? Yu struggled to open her eyes, shook her head, and took a deep breath. Thank you, Auntie. I just didn't have breakfast and my blood sugar was a bit low. Oh, pretty girl. Come on, Auntie, give you a Ferrero. Young people should not waste their bodies. Yu couldn't help but smile bitterly. How many workers in Pengcheng have breakfast on time? Thanks to Aunt's chocolate, she quickly regained her health. Just as I entered the office elevator, I met the little girl who had the most interaction with the company's finance department. After looking around, the little girl asked her in a low voice, "Sister, haven't you watched the company's work group these past few days? I haven't been feeling well these past few days and haven't had a chance to see it yet." "What did I say?" Yu asked as she took out her phone and turned it on. As soon as she turned on, more than 20 missed phone calls popped up, and almost all of her direct subordinates called her twice or more. I clicked on WeChat. Countless of her messages popped up, and after 5 minutes, I roughly looked at one. At the bottom of the group message, I saw a long message as follows. "Have cool not summer." For colleagues who have not followed the news in the work group for more than 24 hours, the group unanimously believes that this is a lack of responsibility and basic professional ethics. They demand that these colleagues apologize and reflect at the morning meeting after the holiday. If the execution is not in place, they will be removed from the group after 4 p.m. So, today's morning meeting is a review meeting for the leader of her company's COVID-19 sales team. More than 280 employees lined up in a row, leaving the middle of the hall for the boss Xia Meng, who is hosting the morning meeting today. The boss's face is like frost. Before the morning meeting, let me briefly say a few words about the notice issued in the work group on October 7th. I believe everyone has already seen it. Ju is an efficiency-oriented company, so without further ado, let the family members who received the notice come up to reflect. The nausea of being pressed down by chocolate surged from my chest to my throat. More than 200 people in the entire company are all staring at Yu. Yu remained calm and didn't blush. "Before I do my reflection, can I ask the boss a few questions?" "What questions does Director Yu have?" "Firstly, may I ask if October 6th to 7th, 2016 is a national statutory holiday?" "It's a holiday, that's right, but, secondly, I would like to ask the boss again, is WeChat work group video conferencing a normal work arrangement for the company?" "It's just a WeChat chat, why did it just become a work arrangement?" "Since it's not a work schedule, chatting and videos are personal matters, and I have the right not to respond to personal matters during my personal time." "Finally, I would like to ask the boss, what are the basic professional qualities of marketing personnel and the specific requirements of the company?" "Not looking at work WeChat, isn't it a lack of sense of responsibility?" "The sense of responsibility cannot be quantified, it is too subjective. Isn't Jutsai always based on data quantification? If I, as the sales director with a monthly KPI completion rate of 200%, don't have the basic professional ethics of a marketing personnel. So, who does?" Xia Meng's face turned pale. "Your champion hasn't been achieved by the group platform yet. It's not you, it could be someone else." "Boss, you're out," they all talk about mutual achievement. Although each region must have a sales champion, boss, the champion among the 4 regional sales champions is also me. Can selling COVID-19 ignore the group's administrative orders? Can selling COVID-19 ignore the boss? The administrative order from the group. How about we give the group's legal department a hands-free call to consult now? The voices of discussion in the hall were getting louder and louder, and Xia Meng's mind was buzzing. The reason why she dares not make a fuss when she eats Dingyu is because she has to sign the performance bonus for the first half of the year that is about to be issued. The atmosphere was so awkward that she had to dig out a 3-bedroom, 2-living-room apartment. Xia Meng didn't even know how she managed to complete the morning meeting process in a daze. Women seek revenge overnight, and that afternoon Xia Meng began a series of her sexual activities. Firstly, a major work position adjustment was made for all employees in the company. The 2 rows of workstations closest to the toilet and farthest from the air conditioning outlet were, of course, assigned to Yu's team in the end. Subsequently, a new product department was established in the South China region, and sales from the top 10 companies were added. The work content and projects are yet to be determined. Throughout October, Yu diligently accompanied the general manager and her assistant in meetings. By the end of the month, the Yu KPI had only been achieved by 10%, ranking last among the entire company. On November 1st, Xia Meng delayed the payment of her performance bonus for the first half of the year, citing Youyu's performance being the last, with a strong intention of encouraging her to leave voluntarily. Upon seeing the email notification sent by the boss, Youyu quickly saved it. The person's head, evidence, that was sent was not accepted for nothing. At midnight on November 2nd, HRD of Jutsai Group received an email. Dear Tom, I am Youyu, the Director of Sales Department in the South China region, with the ID HN002. I am writing to inquire about the termination process and compensation agreement for company employees. Regarding the specific reasons for my dismissal, please refer to the attached PPT for details. P.S. Regarding the issue of distributing performance bonuses in the first half of the year, I would also like to consult with the legal manager. Hope that Jutsai Group's people oriented is not a routine slogan in weekly morning meetings. And I look forward to becoming the first employee in the South China region of the company to be dismissed normally and receive full compensation. I am fortunate to have worked at Jutsai Group for 11 years. Although fate has come to an end, I still wish the company's business continued success. Delaying your precious time. The first person to send the email was the headquarters HRD, who copied the CEO and legal manager of the group. After sending the email, Youyu turned off her computer and phone and fell asleep. An email stirred up 1,000 waves, and the executives at BJ Group headquarters were awakened in the middle of the night for a meeting, along with Xia Meng. The CEO of the group sprayed the video for half an hour, cursing Xia Meng until she was completely exhausted. With the intervention of group executives and legal managers, 2 weeks later, Youyu's performance bonus for the first half of the year, plus N, years of work, plus 1, was credited to over 500,000 yuan. In all these years, no employee in the South China region has resigned and paid any compensation, which can be considered as a precedent. There were not 100 or 80 employees who were forced to resign by Xia Meng through various means before. After hearing about Youyu's heroic act, some people who left the company specially gathered a large group of people, preparing to collect evidence before filing a class action lawsuit. Following wave after wave, my friends wished they could give Youyu a live report. What is the interpretation of strength? Being in the Chao camp and having a heart in the Han. More than 500,000 yuan was transferred to Youyu's account, and 300,000 yuan was transferred to the public account of the first orphanage in Shushi, Hunan province on the same day. Shushi First Orphanage, the hometown where Youyu lived for 17 years. Youyu, who is 32 years old this year, was a premature baby abandoned at the entrance of an orphanage on the day after birth. She, who is thin and prone to illness, spent 1/3 of her childhood in the hospital. At the age of 17, I was successfully admitted to a 211 university in Guangdong province and studied business English. In my senior year, I was recruited by the school to join the South China branch of Jutsai Group, and worked there for 11 years. The reason why Youyu made up her mind to break ties with Xia Meng was because on the second day of the National Day holiday, she suddenly had an extra plane system in her mind. The appearance of this plane system is very abrupt. As long as Youyu closes his eyes, he can see a row of large red characters. Does the plane tasker accept the task? There are still XX hours until we confirm acceptance. Below the big characters, there is a row of small characters explaining that 1 day in the human world is equivalent to 1 year in the plane, and the task time starts from 10 days in the human world. After the task is completed, the main brain system will provide a comprehensive rating. 1.100 points, 1 point equals 10,000 soft coins. Youyu once thought she was hallucinating, but when she closed her eyes, she could see the big screen display. She couldn't even deceive herself into dreaming. Starting today, she decided to switch to a special new job. Her interpersonal relationships are simple. On her phone, besides clients, the one with the highest frequency of calls is Dean Yu's mother. Just as I thought of Mom Yu, my phone displayed her incoming call. Xiao Yu, why did you come back with so much money again? Didn't mom tell you not to spend money in the future? Mother, you spoke in a very anxious tone. This girl has donated over 1.2 million yuan to the orphanage since her first year at work. Mom, your eldest daughter is amazing. The company has already paid out all the performance bonuses for the first half of this year. Don't worry, I will keep my monthly salary. Xiaohao and others will have their college entrance examination next year, so we cannot prepare some tuition and living expenses. The tuition fee for a year in college is only a few thousand yuan, and after applying for orphan subsidies, they won't use much. They say they also want to learn from you through work study. Xiaoyu, the housing prices in Shenzhen are so expensive, when do you have to save up before you can make the down payment? Don't worry, I have switched jobs now and will only earn more in the future. However, the new company requires frequent business trips, and I may not be able to answer your phone calls when I am busy. If you cannot reach me in the future, please send me a text message, and I will reply to your message as soon as I am busy. After arranging all the trivial matters, when there were still 2 hours left for the plane system task, Yu finally clicked the accept confirmation button. The red font disappeared and the screen was filled with fireworks. After the fireworks dissipated, the focus came. Beginner level plane tasker. Yu, age 32, gender female. Please click on the following keywords to generate a task. Spatial background. Ancient #era #future, keywords. Princess #school flower #noble woman, task time. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, hidden attribute. Random, Yoyu's thoughts flew and she decisively clicked on the labels of Dara, school flower, and 10 years, with precision. Plane time and space is about to open. Junior task takers are requested to prepare. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 1. Hungry, very hungry, all the internal organs are protesting wildly, especially the one who wakes up from hunger. I have never been hungry before, not only hungry, but also very thirsty. I can't feel any saliva when swallowing, and my throat is so dry that it's almost smoking. Thinking of opening your mouth and making a loud hiss, pain, it's so painful. I don't know how long the two lips have been sticking together, but she just opened her mouth and pulled it apart. The dry and fragile lower lip skin eloped with the upper lip skin. The lower lip, which had been stripped of its face, was covered with blood beads constantly emerging, causing Yu to shed tears in pain. After putting in a lot of effort, my throat couldn't make a sound at all, so it's impossible to expect someone to come. Is this a routine operation of the plane system? Without time to digest the memories of this new body, Yu struggled to get up from bed with her eyes shining with Venus. Hands are short and feet are not long, it seems that I am still a baby. It only took a few minutes to crawl out of bed and then I fell asleep. Cold air gradually wakes people up, perhaps it's around winter. The curtains are not very light blocking, allowing sunlight to penetrate the entire room. Glancing at the living bedroom environment in front of the light. The wall should have been painted for many years, with a hint of yellow inside. A 3-door wardrobe is across from the bed. Not far from the bedside table, there is a rattan chair sofa that can accommodate 2 or 3 people. There is also a big red cotton jacket, a pink sweater, and black sports pants on top. Besides, there is no other furniture in the room. A room of more than 10 square meters appears spacious enough. Looking at it again and again, there was only a fruit tray on the bedside table, which contained 2 adult fist-sized, wilted apples. Where else can we care about washing apples and peeling them? Yu struggled and splashed towards the fruit plate. Katja ignored her mouth, which was still bleeding, and eating was her instinctive action at the moment. The wilting apples have average brittleness, but fortunately their taste is relatively sweet, like the variety of red Fuji. Sweet and salty, one bite after another. Each bite was only chewed a few times before being hastily swallowed into the stomach. Except for the seeds in the apple core, there was no waste in the 2 apples, and they all went into Yu's belly. After being full, I felt cool and bright from the inside out, trembling and crawling into the bed without any warmth. Finally, he had the strength to receive the memories of this body, but after receiving more than a decade of memories, Yu was so angry that he almost became autistic. God horse thing. Isn't the keyword she was asked to choose by the plane system the school flower? How did she become the school flower? Her sister. My younger sister just put up with it. Where can the younger sister, who was born to the same parents as the school flower, be so ugly? Unexpectedly, the plane system tricked her and caused her a disaster. What kind of tragedy? Even if premature and weak, the former Yu would still be at least 1.55 meters tall in adulthood. Wearing 5 centimeter high heels, she can at least blend into the air layer of 1.6 meters. She has never complained about anything. But now, when it comes to Yu, who had the same name, surname, and body type in 2005, her pitiful height has actually shrunk. At the age of 19 and in her prime of youth, she is only 1.3 meters tall. A normal person, 19 years old, how could they be at this height? Yes, the body that Yu is wearing is abnormal. She is a dwarf patient. A more pleasant term is called a pocket person. It was only when she was 1.5 years old that her family realized her uniqueness. During her school years, her classmates gave her the nickname Princess P, which stayed with her until she graduated from high school. Princess P, it's not that her skin is as delicate as a fairy tale princess, but rather that her height is as small as a pea vine. Having given birth to such a disabled child at home, it is inevitable to be pointed at by the villagers. The actions of Yu's parents were also very unexpected. They were brave enough to conceive a 3rd child. I searched for Grandma Yu's cousin's house in the distant mountainous area and didn't return to the village until my youngest son was born. In December 1989, her father, Yu Lijun, went bankrupt and registered his youngest son as a household registration. The school flower sister's name is Yuci. She was born in June 1981 and is 4 years old in Dio dialect. She has been known as a child by her parents since childhood. She grew to 1.65 meters at the age of 16, with fair skin, beautiful appearance, and long legs. Moreover, from elementary school to high school, I never ranked among the top 3 in my grade, and I am recognized as the school flower among the 5 high schools in Jiang County. Jiang County, located in Jia City, SC Province, is the 2nd largest economic county in terms of GDP in the city. It is located between Leshan Giant Buddha Scenic Area and Mountamay, a famous 5A scenic spot. Chaoxing's younger brother Yurui is also quite good looking, growing to 1.72 meters tall by the age of 15. Among Sichuan people, they can all be considered tall. So, when my parents gave birth to 3, she was the one who caused the most evil. But do you think that there is a school flower sister above and a healthy and lively younger brother below, and you can say that this pea princess is just a little pitiful? No. 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 The memories that come out of it all leave you speechless. This little girl is amazing. A decisive, scolding, person, from the little classmate who gave her a nickname to her sister and brother at home, and even the villagers. Anyone who offends her will make you doubt life. Why do you think she's holding her breath? I made it myself and starved myself to death. The reason for starvation is directly related to her school flower sister. Yusi's performance in the college entrance examination remained excellent, and he was admitted to BJ Normal University with a bachelor's degree in English. The first college student of the 10 production teams in Yugubian village, and also a key university. The school flower of a small county town is still the school flower of Peking University. I found my boyfriend Su Shijun from the same school, who is still from Beijing. I've been in a relationship for 3 years, and they all say that campus relationships don't have good results, but they are so kind. In the month of graduation, I obtained a marriage certificate from my boyfriend and applied for an English teacher position at a key high school in Beijing. In his original memory, Yusi held a grand and dignified wedding at the best Jiangxian hotel in Jiangxian 2 years ago. Marriage and work went smoothly, and I became pregnant in the first half of last year. On the New Year's Eve call, she suggested that her mother Yigui may go to Beijing to serve her during her confinement. It's pitiful to say that when she was pregnant, she always thought about the hometown food her mother cooked, and her mother-in-law was still working in the system. Where does a nanny at home have a caring mother? To be reasonable, no one thinks there is a problem with taking care of the daughter who is about to give birth during the postpartum period. But the problem is it. Yusi is so considerate. She not only promises to pay her own mother a monthly salary of 1,000 yuan. Still in Beijing, she found a job with a monthly salary of 2,000 yuan for her father Yu Lijun. It is said that the parent of one of her students runs a 1,000-acre organic vegetable farm in the suburbs of Beijing. I would like to hire more than 10 experienced vegetable growers for production management. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 2. In 2005, he managed food and housing, and received a monthly salary of 2,000 yuan for ensuring income during droughts and floods. How could Yu Lijun not be tempted? With the addition of Yiguime's salary, the couple can work for a year, which is more than working in their hometown for 2 years. 2 years from now, if my son Yu Rui gets admitted to university, the tuition and meal expenses will cost at least 6,000 to 7,000 yuan per year. Half of the households in the village have built buildings, but their house is still the red brick bungalow he built in his wedding year. His eldest daughter wants to introduce him to other jobs, and he may worry about not being able to do it, but he is really good at growing vegetables. Yugubian village is located near the Qingyi River, only 6 kilometers away from the center of Jiang County. The Qingyi River is a tributary of the Dadu River, a tributary of the Minjiang River, a tributary of the Yangtze River. Flowing to Jiang County, the widest part of the riverbed reaches 1.5 kilometers, with a maximum sandbar area of 1.3 square kilometers, nearly 2,000 acres. Except for the Chengdu Plain, most parts of Sichuan province are dominated by hilly landforms. And because of this water body, Yugubian village in Jiang County has accumulated vast plains of fertile soil for thousands of years. There are 2 types of land allocated to the village, one is sandy dry land, and the other is large and flat paddy fields with convenient water diversion and irrigation. When the contracted land is allocated to households, the villagers receive an average of 6% of the paddy field and 8% of the dry land. There are 7 people in the household registration book of the Yu Lijun family, and currently there are over 4 acres of paddy fields and 5 acres and 6 acres of dry land. Sandy dry land is an excellent place for vegetable cultivation. It not only has a deep soil layer, rich organic matter, good drainage, but also is loose and well ventilated. Ordinary lotus white can grow to the size of a grinding disc, radishes are as thick as legs, and cowpeas are longer than arms. However, growing these worthless vegetables is already an old calendar, and in the past 5 or 6 years, some villagers have gradually learned the techniques of greenhouse vegetable cultivation. Every household in the entire village has at least 2 greenhouses. Yu Lijun was one of the first few people to go out and learn greenhouse planting techniques, and can be considered the top vegetable grower in the 7th production team. Yu Lijun was delighted to be able to earn a salary with his skilled craftsmanship. Moreover, the eldest daughter Yusi is still in the key high school where she teaches, helping her youngest son Yorue secure the qualification of a transfer student. Even the best Jiang County No. 1 high school cannot be admitted to several of the top 10 key universities in the country in a year. I don't know how much effort it took to transfer my younger brother, who has been in high school for a semester, to a key high school in Beijing. Yu Rui himself has good grades and exudes the charm of Yusi back then. Yu Lijun privately believed that if he were well trained, his son could also be considered to be admitted to Peking University. A great thing, the whole family, except for Yu, raised their hands and feet in agreement. The reason for not taking her to Beijing is also very realistic. Yu's mistress gave birth to 2 daughters, and her father, Yu Jun, is the only son. Rural people, married girls do not need to support their parents according to the rules. The son who stays at home to inherit the incense must bear the responsibility of caring for his parents. So, no matter what, we have to leave someone at home to take care of the elderly couple. But Yu, who graduated from high school less than a year ago, can't do without her mother. Her mother Yigueme is a skilled worker both at home and abroad. And I love cleanliness very much, like organizing, even ordinary meals can make a good taste. Because her true self always complains, saying that Yigueme mistreated her when she was pregnant, which caused her to suffer. Usually, when there are good things at home, she has to choose first. For household chores, even Yuroi helps wash dishes, but Yu has never done it before. I'm too lazy to even wash my underwear by hand with the help of a mother. In the old saying, it means, don't do whatever you want, eat whatever you want first, and try to ask your elders for pocket money if you have nothing to do. Yusi is about to take her parents and younger brother to the capital city and leave 2 elderly people for her to take care of. Yu, who has been the little boss of the family for over a decade, how could she suffer such a big loss? I made up my mind, scolded Yusi over the phone for a whole hour, and perhaps Yusi couldn't bear it anymore. After years of frustration, I vented it on the phone. You just have dwarfism, it's not a problem with your intellectual development. Who is a 19-year-old adult who is still unable to live independently? In the past, Yuroi and I used to give way to you. Can you take a look at your selfishness now? Mom, you won't allow me to give birth, and you won't allow Dad to come to Beijing to make money. Are you worthy to be our family member? You are even more vicious than the devil. A curse is astonishing. No family member has ever said such a harsh word to you. It's impossible to win the battle. During the Chinese New Year, I had several arguments with Yu Jun, his wife, and Yuroi. It's impossible to cry, but in the end, I came up with the tactic of hunger strike. Forcing death to keep my parents. This year has been quite exciting, and Grandpa you can't bear it anymore. He got angry and made a decision. Let the son, daughter.in.law, and grandson leave the house to the elderly couple. More than half of the villagers from the 3 nearby production teams in the left and right houses are surnamed Yu. His and his wife's bodies are hard and strong, can't they still take care of a 19-year-old adult granddaughter? The granddaughter is absolutely right. A granddaughter who can finish high school is not a fool. He was so used to it by his family that he couldn't bear to watch it anymore. Fasting. Grandpa Yu is very knowledgeable, and the village shrew is used to using this trick to scare the men at home. He believed in his heart that those who cry, make trouble, and hang themselves are mostly acting for others to see. How many people are truly willing to go out and commit suicide? Don't you just want them to soften their hearts? If you don't eat, you'll fall down. My granddaughter should be cleaned up. Moreover, just after the Chinese New Year, there are a lot of candies, snacks, and fruits at home. Even if you don't eat, you won't starve to death. But how could he have foreseen that his granddaughter had a strong sense of residual energy? I really broke my heart and starved myself to death in bed. Looking back on this, knowing that encountering such a master, would you just say that it's not a bad thing? Seeing the dressing mirror on the door in the middle of the wardrobe, Yu crawled out of bed and stood at the end of the bed, looking at herself in front of the dressing mirror from a distance. After only 20 seconds of courage, he fell back into bed. I can't describe it, my mom. She is 1.3 meters tall, 1 head behind her previous height. Extremely disharmonious proportions of limbs. The stomach is bulging, the neck is almost invisible from the front, and the head appears larger than usual. The amount of hair is astonishing, not long, slightly yellowish with natural curls. I don't know if dry weather is prone to static electricity, but she ended up sleeping with an explosive head. His facial features are not considered ugly, his eyebrows are his eyebrows, his nose is his nose, and even his skin is quite fair and tender. As long as you don't speak and pretend to be a 3rd or 4th grade elementary school student, ordinary people can definitely be deceived. But what made you collapse was that the legs wearing tight autumn pants in the mirror were short and gritted their teeth, but they were not straight yet. Undoubtedly, O-shaped legs. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 5. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 4. I belched heavily. You touched her stomach and looked at the pot that had been eaten up by herself. She smiled awkwardly at Grandma Yu. Eating is a blessing. Milk is not afraid of you eating too much, but afraid of you not eating. Milk, you go back, I'll wash the pots and dishes myself. Grandma Yu was pleased that her granddaughter was finally willing to do housework, and smiled with only a few remaining front teeth. Sure, but you need to boil hot water before washing dishes. The water is still a bit cold now. Speaking of which, Grandma Yu helped to boil hot water and stood in front of the stove, staring at Yu. Yu sighed and stood on the stove higher than her, leaning halfway into the pot with a small stool. Washing dishes is really difficult for her, but her fingers are so short. Several times, the bowl soaked in dishwashing detergent slipped back and forth from her hand, but she couldn't grip it firmly. Grandma Yu watched her granddaughter work with fear in her heart, feeling very anxious and not showing any signs on her face. The old man is right. How many more years can they live, and their sons and daughters-in-law will definitely die earlier than their granddaughters. If we don't teach her these things now, who can take care of her for a lifetime? My family has always thought about marrying off their granddaughter, but most of the people who come to her house to inquire are disabled and unwilling to harm her. How many normal young people are willing to marry her granddaughter? My son works tirelessly to earn money, not only to support a few children's education and building a house, but also to save more money for his granddaughter to live with. Yu finally stumbled and finished washing the pots and dishes, and her cotton clothes got wet, which was really frustrating. Grandma Yu, who kept praising her and washing the dishes clean, was seen off, and Yu lay on the sofa in the living room in a daze. What is the feeling of having loved ones for the first time? It seems that there is no rejection. I live so well with such a violent temper, I feel so free. My parents and siblings are not top-notch relatives, and they are both far away in Beijing, so no one can control her. There is no pressure to work, no KPI, and even no pressure to get married. Sitting, eating, and waiting to die for 10 years is not a bad thing. Get rid of the crazy thoughts in your mind. After all, eating and waiting to die also requires spending money. Eating coarse tea and light rice, as well as delicacies. Even if it's just for the sake of food and drink, one still needs to think about the ways to earn money. Yu, a part-time worker, goes online. With a high school education, 19 years old, and a height of 1.3 meters, what can she really do? Before the couple of Lijun left, they left their original body with 600 yuan in cash. Adding the Chinese New Year's gift money, there are nearly 1,000 soft girl coins in total. At that time, Lijun also said that he would transfer 800 yuan to Grandpa Yu's account every month, which would be considered as food expenses for the three of them. Grandpa Yu even gave her father a scolding at the time. Your mother has raised more than 10 chickens, and she can't win every day's eggs. The preserved meat sausage she made last year is enough to eat for half a year, and 500 yuan per month is enough. TSK, 3 people, with a monthly meal allowance of 500 yuan, how much money can we leave for her to play? Most of the pocket money that I had saved before was thrown into the small shop in the village. I don't know what to eat with those colorful snacks that cost 3 to 5 cents per bag. The children in other villages buy 3 bags and 2 bags, and their original preference is wholesale of 10 bags and 10 bags. The key wholesale still uses retail price. The wholesale market in the county town is so close that if you just cross a river and save 1/3 of the cost, she wouldn't even bother to go. Without a bank card, a 19-year-old adult now only has 1,000 soft coins. After spending them, who should I ask for them? Yu, who doesn't have the habit of palm up, can't even ask her father or her mistress for money. Not long after she caused trouble, she ate up a pot of preserved pork ribs and started to rebel. Perhaps due to being hungry for too long and experiencing alternating hot and cold binge eating, the response was not as intense as usual. Within half an hour, she made 3 trips to the restroom, and the last one made her feel a bit exhausted. I mixed a glass of salt and sugar water and gulped it down. No, she needs to take a hot shower immediately. The original messy woman, in my memory, was washed by her mother on Chinese New Year's Eve and had a layer of skin peeled off. Today is the yuan shao, filled round balls made of glutinous rice. Flour for Lantern Festival. I haven't washed my hair or bathed for half a month. I think she will have to vomit. Perhaps the beginning of spring came early this year, and the sun outside is still quite hot at this moment. With water rising from the solar energy, the sunshine is good and we can't waste it anymore. Hurry up and replace the 4-piece doghouse set, and also take out the cotton quilt and mattress to sun-dry and disinfect. Before dinner, Yu came out of the bathroom happily. She washed her hair 3 times before and after, and her whole body was soaked and rubbed. Poor kid, I don't even have a bottle of facial cleanser, the only skincare product is Debeo. The pink toothbrush is so fluffy that I can't even brush my teeth, so I just threw it into the trash can. I rummaged through the wardrobe in the bedroom a few times, and the clothes that could be changed for her were either pink or red. It's possible that the only suitable clothes for her height were children's clothing. On the basis of appetite, the demand for basic skincare products and fitting outfits has also increased. She doesn't want to wear anything, she's wearing pink and tender clothes with cartoon patterns inside and outside. You ask about underwear, onesie is only suitable for wearing vests. With such abnormal development, even if you say you have the ability, don't come. No, they came on time when they were 15 years old. One is for a week, never leave until time. Before 18.00, Grandma Yu ran from the next room to ask for advice. Xiao Yu, do you want brown sugar or black sesame stuffing for rice dumpling? How many will you rub? People with diarrhea should wait for their intestines to clear before eating. No, I ate too much preserved pork ribs at noon, and I had diarrhea all afternoon. Ah. Are you still talking nonsense now? Why don't we cook you a white porridge to drink? I won't eat anything, milk. Don't worry about me, let's eat it with me. I had to learn from my original body and use an impatient tone to stop Grandma Yu's endless chatter. Stepping on the small stool, he groaned and threw the clothes he had changed inside and out into the washing machine. Urgent need to buy. New toothbrushes, new face pads, cups for drinking water. Go to the snack bar with your legs. Impossible. The only means of transportation that Yu possesses is a bicycle. Well, to be precise, it's a children's bicycle with 3 wheels at the back. Children's bicycles, are they also bicycles? Don't mind. At least twice as fast as her walking speed. She, who had not left the living room all afternoon, rode her bike from the backyard to the front yard and found that the cement courtyard in front of the main house was quite spacious. A rectangular shape with half an acre of land visible and no surrounding walls. There is a row of flower beds made of red bricks in front of the courtyard dam. Inside are roses that Yusi likes, and there are still a few blooming flowers in this season, which can barely be considered a scene. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 5. Along the familiar plowing path, the fluffy explosive head, paired with a bright red cotton jacket, Yu stepped the children's bicycle out of the position of a wind and fire wheel. Ding-ling-ling, ding-ling-ling. When encountering villagers occupying the road in groups of 3 or 2, they rang the bell fiercely. In less than 10 minutes, I came to the only small shop on the roadside in the village. Watching Yu Feng pull his back away, the villagers couldn't help but shake their heads and start their daily activities. Isn't it true that Mr. Jun's whole family has gone to the capital city? You left a message, but Empress Dowager is alone in the house. There's no way, the seniority of the Yu Lijun family is too high. The 7th production team, aged 20 to 40 and under, mostly have to be called Yoyu Nyang Nyang. He, take her to the capital city to be embarrassed. Her kind parents-in-law are all officials. Not to mention the issue of shameless skin, the whole family has left and is not afraid of being poked on the spine. That's to say, leave some people inside the house to take care of the elderly. Don't pull a finger, it's not certain which one takes care of which one. Can Princess P pick or carry it? If you ask me, Uncle Jun and his family's vegetable garden are well organized, and they can only sell for tens of thousands of yuan a year. Isn't it a waste for the couple to go to Beijing to bring their grandchildren? The children in Beijing are very accustomed to it, and the whole family revolves around it. There is nothing to say, the topic turns around, and it breaks my heart for the Yu family. The VIP customer of the small shop, Yu, dug out his ear and sat on the simple shelf of the small shop with his head covered, picking and choosing. Glass or ceramic water cups are not available, plastic cups and disposable paper cups can be chosen. There are only 2 types of toothbrushes, and I chose the most expensive one, which costs 3.50 yuan. There are piles of face masks, not to mention not many brands. They are so simple that they don't even have basic plastic packaging bags. The color is also very ordinary, and I picked out one based on my touch, which feels the softest to the touch. The rubber gloves for washing dishes were chosen in size S. It is estimated that Auntie is also coming to visit, and she needs to buy a few bags of sanitary napkins. Look at the sign. Oh Hua. All the counterfeit brands have entered the village, such as ADC, Alien Space, and Dolan. It's okay if other household items are miscellaneous or not branded. You can't use counterfeit sanitary napkins. Don't use these private items if there are any problems. A total of 9.5 yuan, in Chinese. Would you like 2 packets of spicy tofu? And your favorite spicy tofu jerky, the cumin flavor is so delicious. No, I've eaten enough of these snacks for the Chinese New Year. Change. She, a white-collar beauty from a big city since 2016, hasn't eaten any snacks. Do it. The owner of the small shop, known as Big Bucktooth, had to quickly help change money. She didn't want to be scolded by the VIP. 3 production teams, 15 children under the age of 10, combined to buy snacks at her house. None of them are as good as Yuki. She bought too much alone last year, so we can't make her unhappy. Their village has the disadvantage of being close to the county town. Many parents are very shrewd and know that they cannot stop their children from eating snacks. If you want to save money, riding a motorcycle for 10 minutes can give your child a large box of snacks to wholesale and take home. Big Buckteeth didn't know, and the expressionless Yu was currently heartbroken about her soft girl coins. The 100 yuan banknote from 2005, although very purchasing, is one less than a broken one. That's it, I haven't bought any essential daily necessities yet. She has reason to doubt the blatant counterfeit products in the supermarket. The shampoo and shower gel used for washing hair and bathing today are also counterfeit brands. Why is the taste of High Phase C slightly different from what she has used before? The scalp seems a bit itchy. Even the most basic living needs have made Yo-Yo feel a tight grip on money. She is no longer the one who visits the Fortune 500 supermarkets and doesn't even look at product prices. I have a habit of looking for ways online, but where do I have a computer at home? The nearest internet cafe to home is also located in the county town opposite the Qingyi River Bridge. At Jiangxian No. 2 Middle School, she attended high school for 3 years and never went online a few times in her memory. Smartphones haven't even come out yet, Nokia 6510, and only her father has one in the whole family. A telecommunications landline was only installed in Ye's milk room 6 months ago, in order to facilitate phone communication with the middle-aged and young women who had married into the city. Sigh, she doesn't even have a basic tool to make money now. When I came out, I rode too fast and leisurely on the rural tractor road back home. Looking around casually, you can see one white plastic greenhouse after another not far away. Upon careful sniffing, there is still a faint, fermented fecal odor in the air. Fortunately, her home is still a bit far from this greenhouse. Otherwise, when the weather gets hot, the air wouldn't have suffocated people to death. There are 10 production teams in Yugubian village, and very few villagers go out to work. Relying solely on growing greenhouse vegetables, most of the villagers have built 2-story small buildings. The cost of building a vegetable greenhouse on half an acre of land is over 1,000 yuan, and the main framework requires the use of cement columns. Special steel pipes are also needed to make the arched shed, and the thickness of the plastic film used for covering is required. Most vegetables require rotation cultivation, so every household has several greenhouses. Diligent vegetable farmers are already busy working in the greenhouse before the end of the year. Bitter gourd, tomato, cucumber, chili, eggplant, kidney beans and other vegetable seedlings. Seedlings are nurtured in the greenhouse in winter, and transplanting can begin around the beginning of spring. The work of transplanting vegetable seedlings in the greenhouse is not easy to do. The whole process of digging pits and burying seedlings requires hunching down, which is both hot and tiring. Thinking of this, Yu finally realized the anomaly in her home. You see, I should have already negotiated with Yu Lijun and his wife about going to Beijing. Otherwise, by the end of last year, her family had 6 greenhouses, but before the Chinese New Year, not a single vegetable seedling had been raised. It seems that the whole family only concealed one from her. It was just an ultimatum given to her before her parents left. School flower sister, you have something. The biggest inconvenience of living close to elders is that every move is under their noses. Seeing what her granddaughter had bought in her bicycle pocket, Grandma Yu began to reminisce. Isn't your peach meatball, cherry meatball, washcloth still on display? Are you buying new ones? I've been using it for half a year now. Where is it still new? I'm going to replace it. Thank you for the original body, it's really satisfying to be stubborn. Isn't it new even after only half a year? I really want to be curious, Grandma Yu muttered to herself, afraid of offending her granddaughter. She had something else to discuss with her. Xiao Yu, tomorrow morning we old ladies are going to pinch dog sprouts. Let your grandfather make lunch, do you want it? Dog Bud. In Yoyu's memory, he is known as the best among the wild vegetables in spring in Shangjiang County, sold very expensive. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 6. Not far from their village, there are large areas of cobblestone riverbanks, and many goji berries grow in the wild. From the beginning of spring, to the first sound of spring thunder, there is a period of about 1 month for the growth and development of dog buds. This bud does not grow on the vine stem of goji berries, but is a tender bud that bursts out from the mud or cracks in stones through the roots of goji berries. The best length is up to 10 centimeters, as the fresh and tender nails only need to be pressed against the base and gently pinched to break. Fresh and tender dog sprouts, after washing, just fry the scallions, ginger, and garlic in rapeseed oil, stir-fry a few times in the pot and add some salt. City dwellers who know how to eat are fond of the bitter taste of gadilla. The person who eats doesn't feel bitter, the person who picks it always struggles. Gaudilla doesn't weigh anything and spends a day wandering in the river dam. It's unlucky and can't weigh 3 or 5 pounds all day. Farmers who grow greenhouse vegetables are not attracted to these 3 melons and 2 dates. Only Grandma Yu, who cannot do heavy labor, goes to pick them every year. Yu is used to earning money through her brain, and this kind of physical exertion and low earning is not within her consideration range. Okay, I'll help you cook the pot at noon. I ate in the cafeteria at the orphanage, continued to eat in the cafeteria after school, and worked in the Shenzhen market. The rented house didn't even have a kitchen. She really doesn't know how to stir-fry. I only enjoy doing one household chores. Boiling pots. Grandma Yu thinks today's granddaughter is easy to talk to, and when she goes back, she even mutters to her husband. Do you think Yusi woke up Xiao Yu, scolding? She even washed all the dishes she had eaten at noon, and the dishwashing liquid she poured was enough for me to wash 3 dishes. What are you afraid of spending some detergent on? If you want to talk about it again, she will definitely have to shuttle to the edge, to avoid laziness, on the way to work in the future. I'll just say a few words to you. She almost smashed, the bowl while washing, and I couldn't help but keep silent. Next door, you can't hear her babbling about milk, there's no internet, and most TV dramas are not her dishes. After dark, she brushed her teeth with a new toothbrush and returned to her bedroom. Holding a cotton quilt with a hint of sunshine, let's continue to ponder her money-making plan. The recovery ability of a young body is good. During the day, it was ruined by Yoyu, and at night, it fell asleep before 10 o'clock. There is no noisy car roar, no biological clock or alarm. I woke up naturally after sleeping, and it was another bright spring day. To be honest, she has been working hard in Pengcheng for many years and has not slept so comfortably for many years. I let out a satisfied sigh from the bottom of my heart, just like coming to the countryside for a long vacation. Reluctant to wake up, like a pig worm, arching back and forth in the bed. People have 3 urgent needs, and they still have to get up after using the restroom. Flipping through the boxes and cabinets, I found a headband and lifted the explosive head, washing my face and brushing my teeth. Her house didn't open fire, so we have to go to the neighboring grandpa's house for dinner. Unlike her red brick house, this is an inverted 7-shaped, wooden and earthen structure of an old house. There are 7 rooms of all sizes, and the one closest to the outside is unique. The surrounding walls are only 1 person high, and it is a dormitory for a flock of chickens. The smell in the air is not very pleasant. It is estimated that the age of the old house is even older than that of Yu Lijun. The ground inside and outside the house is still soil, with no hardened cement. The bedroom doors were locked, and Grandpa Yu was not at home. Only 4 big rice dumplings were left for her in the stove. It is estimated that she will have to eat the glutinous rice flour from her milk mill for 3 or 5 consecutive days on the yuanshao, filled round balls made of glutinous rice. Flour for Lantern Festival. Black sesame filling, what a traditional taste. The 2 rice dumplings were so tired of Yu that they had to work hard to finish the remaining 2. After wiping his mouth, there was still a bowl on the stove for her to wash after eating rice dumpling. Well, household chores are really. There are 2 out of 1, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, countless times. The rubber gloves in size S came in handy immediately, washing 3 ocean bowls in 10 minutes. The pitch-black stove was also polished, and Yu expressed satisfaction. Rice dumpling is hard to digest. Why not go to the county seat and buy everything you need? For 1 yuan, you can wait for the suburban county bus to enter the city by the road at the village entrance. Originally, he likes to blame his parents for his dwarfism, but in reality, this guy has no sense of inferiority. Another thick-skinned worker, You, came here. TSK, anyone looking at a strange expression would be in vain. Did you take a look at that low pile? It's the girl who is the school flower of Jiangxian No. 1 Middle School. Just, that pea princess. Keep it down, I heard she's very cruel, don't let her hear her. Damn good hearing, so good that I can hear the whispers of two young girls in the back row clearly. You is too lazy to talk to these people. As long as you don't point fingers in front of her, will anyone not waste their breath? Get in and out of the car, look at your electronic watch, 12 minutes, Nate. It truly deserves to be the economic county of Jia City, and there is actually a 5-story department store in the 5th-tier county town. Touching more than 900 yuan in his pocket, he felt like a ground beetle who had just entered the city and could not help swallowing saliva. Forget it, department stores are such expensive fairies that can't be provoked. It's better to go to the supermarket and buy what you need first. With a strong and spirited demeanor, Yu pushed a handcart that was as high as her chest, and with steps that she didn't recognize, she stepped into the lucky supermarket. 5 minutes later, little sister, what's your mother murmuring? The salesperson saw a little girl sitting under the shelf of daily necessities, struggling to get shampoo. She quickly came over to say hello. Which is your sister? Your whole family is teasing you. The good mood of shopping was immediately stirred up by this salesperson. You spoke in a deliberately rude voice, glaring at the other person while speaking. I'm sorry. Which bottle do you need, customer? Can I help you pick it up? The salesperson's response was not slow either. Knowing that they had encountered a special group of people, they quickly apologized and came forward to help. Just bring me the largest bottle of the Hi-Fi Silk Dandruff Remover Drop. Why is she unwilling to have someone help her? Make your shelves stand so high. The adult's momentum surged, commanding the salesperson to turn around and say, give me the largest bottle of Crest's shower gel, take another one from the scrubbing flour. The salesperson readily accepted one by one with a good temper, and even after finishing, he followed her with unease. Yu pretended to be a god and said, can you help me get the facial cleanser? I need 5 packs for Sophie's night use and so much for daily use. Wait a minute, are the underwear in your packaging box made of pure cotton? Then give me a box. However, after just over 20 minutes of shopping, the supermarket cart was filled with more than half of it. Walking to the fresh place, I saw the top-quality pork belly costing only 6 yuan per kilogram. Unable to resist, I picked a box weighing 750 grams. She must have her master arrange fresh pork for lunch. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 7, a bunch of perfectly ripe bananas and a few pounds of sugar oranges. The old lady at home has only a few missing teeth and can't even chew on apples. It's really useless not to buy anything randomly, it's just a basic necessity. The cashier looked at the salesperson who had served Yu all the way, blinked, and finished scanning the last item. Customer, a total of 193 yuan. Thank you for your patronage. Yu reluctantly took out her red banknotes and painfully counted 2 for the cashier, receiving a 7 yuan change. When buying, it's a pleasure for a while, but after buying it 2 big plastic bags were bulging, even if a kind-hearted salesperson helped her carry them to the entrance of the supermarket. Yu also realized that right now, it seemed like she couldn't carry a plastic bag weighing several pounds and walk to the bus station on her legs. Steady, it's not a big problem. If the bus doesn't work, can we still take a taxi? The starting price is 3 yuan, and for 4 yuan, you can take the Santana special car home. Just picked up something and got off the taxi. I met an old man who was thin like a hemp pole, slightly hunched back, wearing a dark blue coarse cloth coat and a cotton hat on his head. The old man even glared at her. Confirmed the gaze, dear grandpa, undoubtedly. After staring at her, he went back to his own yard without saying a word. "Grandpa, I bought pork belly. Can you make it at noon? If you ignore me, I'll just ignore you." Finally causing the old man's displeasure, he turned around and angrily cursed, "Are you burning too much money? That's not enough bacon and sausages for you to eat. What's enough? If you don't cook pork belly at noon, I'll throw the meat onto the road for you. I just know that spending money can't buy it well. It's impossible to reason with people in their 70s and 80s. These words infuriated the old man's face to a pig liver color. The granddaughter of the turtle even said she woke up, she can really do anything. Wasting food is like thunder and lightning, and besides, it's top-quality pork belly. It's bananas and oranges again. Do we still have to live our lives? The best choice for skinned pork belly with a combination of fat and lean is concentrated oil and red sauce. Think of the braised pork belly, which is soft, glutinous, sweet and salty, and you are so greedy that you can't help but swallow it. But what about reality? Do you expect an old man who is 68 years old and doesn't usually cook much to make delicious pork belly? That's impossible. First, use an electric rice cooker to cook enough rice for one meal. Grandpa used his signature recipe. He patted a piece of ginger, washed the pork belly, threw it into the pot, and boiled it in plain water. After the meat was cooked to 80% cooked, a homemade, bowl-sized green skin round radish was also thick cut into it. Then cover the pot with a lid, and the grandfather and grandson silently set fire, while the other sat on a chair rolling tobacco leaves. The kitchen was so quiet that only the sound of gurgling could be heard from the pot, and occasionally the sound of firewood bouncing around the fire stars could be heard. Until after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the pork belly and radish in the pot were almost cooked and raked to pieces, and Grandma you didn't come home. "Old man, have you finished cooking lunch yet?" This is so untrustworthy of Grandpa Yu's work, and he asked before he even left the house. "Milk, we'll wait for you to come back and start cooking. Today at noon, my master cooked pork belly and radish, and had some dipping vegetables." Yu immediately poked her head out of the kitchen to take the conversation. She was already so hungry that her chest pressed against her back. Grandma Yu sat at the dining table after washing her hands and looked at the meat that the old man had just cut on the table. "Did Xiao Yu buy it? Are you tired of eating enough cured meat?" With the old man's temper, how could he cut fresh meat and eat it in January? Still, Milk knows me. Yesterday, I had diarrhea after eating preserved pork ribs. Experts on TV said that there is too much salt in preserved pork, and eating too much preserved pork is not good for the heart, brain, and blood vessels of the elderly. It doesn't cost money to see a doctor or take medicine. My granddaughter bought fresh meat specifically for you, and even bought you raked bananas and sugar oranges. You greedy dog, don't you want to eat fresh meat? We've been eating cured meat for our whole lives and haven't had any problems with it. You're all a bit unreasonable. Grandma Yu shook her head as she spoke, not believing her granddaughter's nonsense. Do you want to make a bet? Milk, I'll take you to the county hospital for a check. Up tomorrow. Let's see what the doctor says. Old lady, I lied to you about having sugar to eat. Don't listen to experts, suffer losses right in front of you. What kind of hospital are you going to during the New Year's Eve? No, waved his hand and denied it repeatedly. When people get old, the last place they want to go is the hospital, and it's even more impossible to go for a physical examination without illness. Who at this age doesn't have any old health problems? As long as it's not too serious, endure it and it will pass. However, being able to think of her granddaughter who doesn't have many teeth and bought her bananas to eat is quite heartwarming. Let her spend all that money in her pocket, then there won't be any monsters. Grandpa Yu took a bite of pork belly and simmered a sip of wine. The expression on his face was clearly satisfied, but what he said in his mouth was so speechless. Yu went in one ear and out the other, talking about money. He also took the opportunity to apply eye drops to Yu Lijun in front of Grandma Yu. Milk, my dad is so ruthless. He only left me 600 yuan before going to Beijing. What do you think? Buying it now is not expensive. How long can we spend this money? I can see through them. The whole family went to Beijing with their promising eldest daughter to eat delicious and spicy food, and only the three of us were extra. Grandma Yu pretended to slap Yu and said, "Do you think your mother is going to take care of the newborn baby? She's so easy to talk about. She can't do anything without people to eat, drink, and do things. Your father also goes to Beijing to work and earn money. Yu Rui lives in the school, where can the food in the cafeteria be delicious? Okay, the biological one is the biological one." When it comes to talking about their son and grandson, the old lady is not willing to do so. The same person who didn't gossip doesn't resonate with this chat, does it? Sigh, how can I relieve my worries? The only way is to eat meat. Skinned pork belly, with 3 to 4 parts fat, is actually more preferred by the elderly to eat this one bite of fat than lean meat. The pig skin has been cooked and raked, and most of the fat in the fat has been boiled out. Dipped in water with cilantro, garlic, sesame oil, soy sauce, and spicy millet, it's not greasy at all. Left bite, right bite, why is the fresh meat so delicious? 1.5 pounds of meat, along with a big radish, was eaten by 3 people and ended up being dried up. Yu drank half a bowl of meat-flavored radish soup, belched a lot, and had another full meal. Grandma Yu was also tired all morning, suppressing the urge to help and watching her granddaughter slowly set up a stool to wash dishes. Do you know that this year's first batch of dog sprouts was sold at a high price of 12 yuan per kilogram? I was snatched up by a few city people halfway through, and I only managed to make 20.5 yuan by pinching for 4 hours this morning. Milk, how fierce you are. We earned you a week's worth of food expenses from our family. Give you a thumbs up. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 8. Why are you just thinking about eating? Give your nephew a 100-day banquet red envelope with milk. Milk, just 1 or 200 yuan is enough. Do people in Beijing still need these 3 melons and 2 dates from you? Whether she needs it or not is her business, whether she gives it to me or not is this old lady's intention. From this day on, Grandma Yu and her old friends go to pick dog sprouts every morning. Fortunately, the weather is getting warmer day by day, and in just the morning, she shouldn't be tired. Grandpa Yu reluctantly took over the power of making lunch at home. However, as long as Yu doesn't take the initiative to cut meat and buy vegetables, the old man will eat whatever he grows at home, and he only cooks cured meat and sausages twice a week. No matter what you say, you don't listen. You look like you're giving me whatever I cook, and you're causing a lot of trouble. I'm really afraid that if this continues, the old couple will suffer from nitrite poisoning. I have to go back to the county town every 3 days to buy groceries. After going several times, she had figured out most of the county towns. In addition to supermarkets, Jiang County also has a large open-air vegetable market. Vegetables, meat, and fruits are not only fresh, but they are also relatively cheaper than those sold in supermarkets. How could it be possible to only cut 1 or 2 pounds of pork while browsing the market? Sometimes beef and fish are also very fresh. The crayfish are lively. Is it a bit expensive? Buying more than 10 at a time is just a fraction, right? It's okay if the master doesn't know how to clean it up. You can leave it for her to cook at night. She, who doesn't like snacks, only has fruits to be arranged just like this. After only half a month, Yu suddenly realized that her red tickets had been broken by 2 more. Counting and counting, there is still 620 yuan left in the balance. Before eating, staring at the boiled lotus white, Yu's mouth and stomach were full of refusal, and her hands seemed unable to lift chopsticks. Grandpa, didn't my dad say that after going to Beijing, he would give us 500 yuan in monthly meal expenses? Her master cooked lotus white without even adding any lard. Is this the food that normal humans should eat? Eating meat, she's crazy about wanting to eat meat. And she's not the only one who excels in meat eating in the whole family. Why are we just staring at her and picking up sheep? Your father hasn't worked on his farm for a full month yet, which one pays him? The old man was there, stating a fact that you couldn't refute. Grandma Yu chuckled to herself, asking your grandfather to pay for meat cutting. You want to eat shit. Unexpectedly, the granddaughter turned her head and set fire to her. Let's kill the chicken and eat it then. A few of the milk chickens don't seem to lay much eggs anymore. The old hen, who has been stewing for over 2 years, tastes great chicken soup. 6 hens that don't lay eggs, you've already said hello to them since you're old. They cost 25 yuan each, and your sister-in-law will have a baby in just over 2 months. Maybe you're still competing for chicken soup with your postpartum mother and son. Grandma Yu firmly opposes Yu's killing of her chickens and tells her how to arrange for those chickens at home. In the end, she even said she would save 100 or 200 eggs for her sister-in-law. Milk, can't you buy anything in the city? They are very particular about eating fresh eggs. The weather is getting hotter soon, and the eggs that have been stored for a long time will disperse as soon as they are opened. Leave 6 eggs for the head of the house in a day. Is that enough to eat? The people in the city are very rare, and even if I don't give them to your sister-in-law, I can sell them for 50 cents. Grandma Yu is proud that her local egg business has developed a fixed customer base and she doesn't have to worry about selling. Yu is stunned, which means that after spending all her money, she will have to wait for her father's salary next month before she can eat fresh meat. Gaga. She can't even imagine a hen that doesn't lay eggs, as she still has to limit her consumption of plain eggs. She's not a rabbit, how can she just be a vegetarian? Crying in my heart. You are not a city white-collar worker who can earn 30,000 to 40,000 yuan a month. You can eat whatever you want. She went to the county internet cafe 3 times in the past half-month, but the recruitment needs in the post bar and recruitment website did not cover the small county town at all. It's impossible to enter the factory, and they won't want her either. Looking around, it's almost impossible for someone like her to find a job in the county town with a monthly salary of over 500 yuan. Setting up a street stall. Don't say if Yi Nai will lend him money. Will she be seen as a commercial beggar for disabled people if she wants to head towards the county town? Reality is right in front of her, so cruel that she will be struggling to even eat pork in the future. Grandma Yu looked at her granddaughter, who was struck by lightning, and hesitated to ask. Do you want to pinch the dog sprouts with milk? Your eyes are better than milk, and you can pinch at least 3 or 4 pounds a day. Go, milk, I'll go. After a while, Yu regained her composure, as if she had heard the sound of heaven. She quickly nodded and agreed. In her mind, she automatically began to calculate the accounts. 40 yuan per day, 400 yuan per 10 days, and she could earn 600 yuan in half a month in order to have a bite of meat. Yu decided to put it together. In a place she didn't notice, Grandpa Yu and Grandma Yu had a collision in their eyes, and Grandpa Yu proudly raised his birthday star eyebrows. Yu Lijun called at this moment and said, "Second, our farm owner pays his salary every 3 months. Dad will have to wait for a few months to pay for your meals. Don't spend your money recklessly." Yu said in her heart. The original one is not so smart. You can fool her. I believe you're a ghost. Can your daughter's parents still delay paying you wages? Giving money is unpleasant and annoying. Head Tai is talking about her. If you don't take the initiative to give it to me, I'm too lazy to ask you for it. Anyway, if there's rice and vegetables, I won't die of hunger. If I don't have the money to cut the meat, I'll just go on credit. Grandpa Yu snatched the phone and said, "Your daughter is so extravagant. She spends hundreds of dollars on cutting meat and buying fruits in half a month. She eats better than when you were at home, but she's just used to it. Which child is as good as her, 4 times? Humph, just follow the roots. You murmured softly, not wanting to hear anyone complain in person anymore, just wanting to go back and continue lying down. Speaking of pinching dog sprouts, Grandma Yu quickly gave her granddaughter a preventive shot. Xiaoyu, we will depart from the village at 6:30 in the morning and arrive at the riverbank after 7 o'clock. You must wake up at the latest at 6 o'clock. The poor and crazy Yu nodded and said, "Milk, I understand. If I can't get up, wake me up at the window." When she worked hard and studied, she was also someone who had experienced the hardships of physical labor. Isn't it just picking wild vegetables? Just treat it as spring outings. Cantonese like wolfberry pig liver soup, and you have also drunk wolfberry snow fungus soup, but you don't remember much about what wolfberry grows like. Without an alarm clock, relying solely on Grandma Yu knocking and shouting at the window, and waking up naturally after sleeping for half a month, Yu reluctantly got up from bed. Indeed, laziness is a temporary pleasure, and laziness is always enjoyable. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. The Pocket Sister of the School Flower, 9. What is your appetite for having breakfast after 6 o'clock? Grandma Yu still cooked dry rice, and Yu forced herself to fill half of the bowl. Wrapped in cotton clothes, on the riverbank in the morning, the wind is still quite strong and cold. Small and large pebbles can be seen everywhere, and occasionally a cluster of goji berries can be seen. The old ladies can still distinguish which part was pinched by them when. Yu is not familiar with the rules and plans to follow Grandma Yu to gain experience first. You can't stand and look at Gudea. You have to bend over and look at the sand, and even the big stones need to be moved away to take a look. My granddaughter is willing to learn, but Grandma Yu wishes to teach her decades of experience in pinching dog buds. Come on, there are a few plump sprouts here, pinch them for you. Guide her granddaughter to look at the ground. Isn't it difficult? This clump can pinch a small handful, milk, look at me. Yu is the master of love for your profession, and since you have chosen physical labor, you will not be affected. Under the guidance of Grandma Yu, I rummaged through 3 pebbles and scraped through my cotton jacket with goji berries. Then, I pinched back 18 dog sprouts. Be careful, there are thorns on the goji berries. Stay away from them. Grandma Yu touched her chest, not because she felt sorry for her granddaughter's clothes, but because she was afraid she might get stabbed. Got it, milk, then I'll run ahead and pinch it, so you don't have to worry about me. The technical content of pinching dog sprouts is really not much, but it's just about finding them carefully, keeping your eyes wide open, and not hesitating to take action. Picking still gives a sense of achievement, and Yu's luck is quite good. She pinched half a pound in half an hour. Running further and further, I couldn't even see a few old ladies when I turned around. I sat down on the mud and sand. Looking at her victory fruit in the vegetable basket, she picked out one and looked at the cleanest dog sprout. Can this be sold for 5 yuan? What kind of delicious food is so expensive? I want to try it. Ah bah. After chewing a few times, Yu's furrowed eyebrows resembled the Sichuan character. How can you describe it? It has a unique fragrance of goji berry leaves, but the biggest taste on the tongue is still a hint of green and bitter taste. Before I could taste its sweetness, I was spit out by Yu. I remember drinking goji berry and pig liver soup before. Isn't it the same variety? People who only know how to eat but cannot cook have limited experience in buying groceries. What can they know? Sister, I am really picking wild vegetables in the morning, weighing 1 or 2 pounds a day, and making them into dishes on a plate, only selling them for 30.1. Grandma Yu's catchphrase. Little children are so wooden that they don't know they're tired. From around 7 in the morning until 11:30 in the afternoon, repeating the movements and constantly bending down. At the end of work, Yu really wanted to return this to the old lady. It's still a bit tiring to say. The charm of money is its grandeur, and the old ladies have been working on it for over 10 days. Looking down at my embarrassed appearance. I don't know when San got into children's sports shoes, the cotton inside the cotton jacket also ran out, my disheveled hair has been hooked by goji berries several times, with some knots, the white and tender fingers were tinged with yellow-green, and the nail covers were all black. I can only constantly comfort myself in my heart. As working people, how can we be completely clean? Just look at the victory fruits in the vegetable basket and it's so satisfying. You expressed satisfaction with the initial battle situation. The old ladies who sell dog sprouts only work this morning every day, pinching them and selling them to customers for lunch while they are fresh. When it was time to gather, she ran the farthest and spent the most time when she returned. Xiao Yu, why did you run so fast? I couldn't catch up with you. Grandma Yu could not help complaining about her granddaughter. She looked at her son's flushed face and felt a little guilty. Milk, I won't run a little further, won't I compete with you for territory? Leave the nearby ones for you to pinch, I respect the elderly, right? Xiao Yu's milk, Xiao Yu is really waking up. She's letting us old ladies along. A group of people were gossiping and wearing high hats on Grandma Yu, making her smile happily. When the elderly, weak, sick, and disabled groups walked to the gathering place of the bridge, for city dwellers gathered around them. Come on, Sansu restaurant is purchasing dog sprouts for 8 yuan per kilogram. There's a lot to be collected. The first person to speak was a middle-aged man in his 40s, thin and tall, gentle, and wearing a pair of golden glasses. Jiang County Hotel is priced at 9 yuan per kilogram. It only costs 15 kilograms, and you can leave when you have enough. Wearing a white shirt, a suit, and a burgundy woolen jacket, a beautiful woman in her 20s refused to be outdone, and then offered a quote. 2 individual guests withdrew upon seeing the situation. What family are they from? Don't you just want to taste something fresh in early spring? There's no need to compete with other restaurants for procurement. Sansu restaurant, 10 yuan per kilogram. The middle-aged man only felt that the beautiful woman was eye-catching and forced him to spend money in vain. Jiang County Hotel, offer 11 yuan. The beautiful woman looked down on the other person's stingy demeanor and raised the price again. Both sides erupted in anger, and the vegetable market didn't come across many times a week selling dog sprouts, causing them to squat by the bridge. The old ladies were not in a hurry at all, smiling as they watched the 2 procurement bids. People who have seen the world are stable. For the first time, Yu saw what supply exceeds demand, and a dish is hard to come by. Look left, look right, rare things are not common. Both men and women were staring at each other, wanting to complete today's task. Biting their teeth, they finally shouted out at 12 yuan per kilogram and refused to raise the price again. Come on, don't argue, don't grab. The 9 of us squeezed together for a whole morning, and we only weighed around 20 pounds. Why don't you divide it equally? There's no way we can do it if it's not enough. The speaker is Yoyu, a vegetable representative elected by several old ladies. Adults don't do multiple-choice questions, sell them all. How can one favor one over the other when purchasing large hotels and star-rated hotels personally? Uncle Wenji Binbin, beautiful little sister. Before spring thunder, as long as it doesn't rain in the morning, we accept reservations. I'll leave your home phone number later. The old ladies have bright eyes, and young people are just smart. Although they don't have to worry about selling in retail, booking is even more secure. Compared to individual customers who haggle, they prefer to purchase from wealthy restaurants. The male and female shoppers exchanged a glance and both thought the idea was good. I was still rushing back to treat my esteemed guests with gadilla, knowing that pulling it down wouldn't take much advantage, so I happily accepted Yoyu's suggestion. 10 bamboo woven vegetable baskets are neatly arranged in a row, with a wet blanket draped inside each basket. Only in such a humid environment can we ensure that the sprouts cut off early in the morning do not wither. Peel off the handkerchief and you can see the dog sprouts inside, with fresh and tender roots. You gently poured the dog sprouts from the nearest basket into a clean food bag. The beauty procurement brought a spring scale for them to weigh next to each other. End of this chapter.